check. There we go. I think we are back at it. Huzzah! Getting it all figured out, worked out. So here we are. Welcome out to the stream tonight, guys. Again, I'm going to go through what I just said muted-wise. Looks like we're quite exposed, but that's all right. You know, our art streams, guys, members only. As much as we would like to make them available to the general public, unfortunately, it's had a very negative impact on our algorithm. Of course, view counts and subscriber bases, and it's just YouTube hasn't been recommending us to as many people simply because it's not sure what it is that people want to watch. So the kind of low view count on the art stuff has made YouTube think maybe the battle reports aren't being received as well. So, you know, we're going to focus in on making sure we get you guys a couple of streams a month for some art content here for the Gob Skwad specifically. But if we wanted to do something very heavy with live streaming art, it would require another channel. Frankly, I don't think I'd want to do that. I think I'd rather keep everything under one umbrella, under one channel, and slowly and organically grow. So something that we will be able to do with time that will not have a negative effect on our algorithm, I don't believe, will be pre-recorded art videos. So we are working on refining that skill set a bit to bring that to you. So, so here we are. Tonight we've got kind of a fun project. It's, you know, low stakes, just getting some terrain printed up. Let me show you some of what we got working with here. Some of you guys might have seen a little while back some terrain that we did up for a friend of ours. Had LEDs in it. It was the Bigbear terrain. We're just adding on some scatter terrain to that. So we've got these guys here. The mic might be low. It might be. We can see if that is any better. We trying to get the other cameras into the stream has got a bunch of stuff kind of all scattered about. It does still look low. Let's see if we can boost that anywhere. By the way, what's going on, Nurgle Matthew? What's going on, Taco Joe? Great to see you both. All right, we can give that a try. I can also speak up a little bit more. Does that seem to be better there? What's going on, Treachery? Great to see you. So, we're gonna just be painting up some of this scatter for his tabletop to kind of add to that. You know, the little small footprints where L's go. These are just gonna make a little more interesting things to look at. So we're just gonna, you know, blast through a good bit of this tonight and kind of hang out. So make sure you keep your questions coming. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. It's great to see everybody. So let's just to get the scope of what we're working with here. Let's go ahead and pull everything out of the box. One of the plus sides, this might look like a lot of pieces because, I mean, it's a fair number of pieces. However, the print quality on these guys is, I'm just going to say it, it's pretty low. You've got a whole lot of graininess that's transacting on the surface of this. Let's see if we can dial in and get a better view on it. Oh, geez, I can't even see if the focus is good or not. But you've got a lot of grain across here. So we can't do much fine detail painting because that's going to make all of the lines stand out that much further. So we're going to do some of the things that we do with our textured metallics to get some interest on them for the sake of just getting it done. So before we get started, of course, we want to shout out our friends over at Transatlantis Games. You know, great paint company here. That's Two Thin Coats, of course, out of the Duncan Rhodes Paint Academy. You've seen it plenty on the channel. You'll see it plenty more on the channel. We definitely can't say it's our favorite paint because honestly, I don't have a favorite. There's too many different types of paints that you're going to see me use from here or there. But it is definitely a great paint if you're looking to get into it and get started with a very well-rounded paint. Well, you know, Two Thin Coats will do that for you for sure. It's a great way to start. And you know what? As soon as they do work in some contrast equivalent, something that works better for filters and whatnot, well, then they might just be able to take, you know, take the title of the best paint out there. But for tonight, we're going to be using a couple contrast paints. Shout out to Artis Opus. Of course, you guys know they have provided us with their whole line of brushes to use on these streams and check out. So of course we review them as we go. So far they have done us very well. You know, big thank you to them for supporting the channel. Game Envy's all over the table with the hobby lights that we've got on the table. The hobby handles that you've seen on plenty of these streams as well. The wet palette, these paint racks here in the back. Just a bunch of really cool things to dress up and kind of organize your game table. So check those guys out. Of course, Spray Gunner bringing us the unofficial Hobby Goblins Infinity. They kind enough to send us that to use here on stream. They're also, you know, kind enough to be an affiliate for the channel. So if you have any airbrush needs, definitely check those guys out. Any purchases from there through our link, of course, does send a little kickback to the channel that does help us out a fair amount. And finally, of course, our favorite sponsor, all of you guys. When I found out that we kind of had to do these members only, of course, a part of it is, well, I was really hoping to be successful with videos and, you know, get a lot of people to tune in and watch us live and everything. But the reality of it is, like, I know who you guys are by and large, most of you. We've hung out in plenty of these streams, whether they're art streams, whether they're battle reports. And frankly, that's really, there's more value there in the long run. So definitely glad to be here with all of you guys this evening. So why don't we dig in? I did let the nozzle and nozzle. By the way, what's going on, Space Wolf Dan, KR Quintero, great to see you. Dude, that is perfect. The GW containers and pipeline, hell yeah. Yeah, in the hose and mic battles, the mic is undefeated. Good to see you guys have got projects on the table. Let's get some of the schmutz out of the end of this. Kind of equate it to popping a pimple. You're making you're squeezing all the little pigment out of the front of the nozzle, gently, very, very gently scraping. You know, we don't want to damage the needle, we don't want to damage the nozzle, but we do need to get that little bit of gunk out of there. Treachery working on some world eaters. I know last we spoke, Space Wolf Dan had some Votan on the table. Getting pretty excited for those. It turns out, when you paint an army, there's just a ton of work to do. The Kroot infantry are just about complete. We might have them complete as early as tomorrow, and then we'll be pushing into the Rampagers and Lone Spears next. So on track for end of the month, hopefully have at least something battle ready for the tabletop. We're going to be doing that paint job in 2 waves. For those of you guys who know Cryface, you know, he paints real good, but he doesn't paint real fast. And so kind of the arrangement that we've got is he is doing an efficiency-focused, battle-ready paint job that will create an opportunity or a canvas, if you will, for him to go back and add much deeper techniques on after the fact. That way we can get them done, hit our deadline, but you know, just because they're done for the deadline doesn't mean they're done. I did get some unnecessarily loud gloves here. The Goblin way. What do you guys think? Maybe we should make the guys use these when they roll dice in the green screen dice can? I think so. All right, let's just zenny some white down the top of these to give ourselves our initial value sketch. Then we're going to be pumping in some colors to match up with the other terrain. That's going to be a mix of Sigvald Burgundy and Ienden Yellow for a set of them. It's going to be, the other side is going to be Enkelian Green with a that same Ienden Yellow as well. That's what the template was for the buildings. Now we did a light yellow on the buildings, kind of like, to be frank with it, I wasn't a huge fan of it. That was something, customer wanted more vibrancy on it, and that's where we kind of ended up with it. So I don't think we're going to do that on these. I think we're going to let these be a bit earthier and work a little bit more weathering in them. I mean, by and large, they're kind of, I mean, they're pieces of equipment, or they're old tanks or things like that. They're not really building facades. So we'll just see how that goes. One thing is for certain, I will need to refresh the water over here for sure. A little late getting in here. A couple things popped up on me at the last minute, like they do. So sorry for being late. Nice gloves. Ooh, yes. What's going on, Hobgob Rob? Oh, that means we've got clogged. Did we? Ah, nice. Avoided the lens. But we did give ourselves a nice galaxy here in front of us. Fun of airbrushing, guys. That was a bonehead error. I don't mind saying it. So you always want to check your nozzle, make sure you've got the proper airflow before filling your cup with paint and then just blindly blasting across the table. But we do have restricted airflow, so let's find out where. I will say, looking around, this got a nice blast radius on it. It's a good thing we've got all this foam soundproofing on the wall. Otherwise, we'd have to tell people we were trying to do a galaxy. Okay, so we're just going to take it back apart. Hilarious. What's going on, Johnny Zed? How are you, man? So I believe it's probably still in the nozzle. Yeah, I think it's right here at the tip of the nozzle is where we're running into our issue. I don't know. I wouldn't challenge the Silent King, man. Both have a problem with silent. You know, the mic is just helping you guys out by muting me from time to time. The other problem is, man, being king sounds like a lot of work, doesn't it? No, thank you. All right, let's give this a peek. All right. We still got a little action in here. So let's drop some airbrush cleaner in it. Backflow a couple of times. All right, now we got some movement. Okay. We're ready for attempt number 2. Now we're moving. Okay, good. Good. So that was just meant to be a demonstration of what would happen if you don't check your paint flow. What's up, Rob? Did you find that get that TTS game set up, man? Saw you were looking for one earlier. It's like we talked about. We're going to just do a zenithal here just to get ourselves some nice volumetrics going on them. We're going to do some transparent down over the top of them. We're going to do some sponge chipping to break that up. And then, of course, we're going to use our favorite messy brush to just add that further bit of weathering and dimensionality to it. And then we're going to get these on the road to him. Now, he may, once he's got them, opt to go ahead and use some pigment powder and cut some posters and really add all of those layers to it, kind of like we saw on the other terrain piece. I'm just here to get some color on it for him. And you know, he was a customer when he bought the terrain. We're kind of doing this one pro bono, just kind of adding to it on his last purchase there. So that's why we call him a friend this time. And we just want the peak of these to be a nice strong white. That's where we want most of that color to be accurate. And of course, we're going to do that with a couple of thin coats. We're not going to just blast all the way to pure white because that's going to be too much paint in one pass. So we're just going to go pass after pass. From the side here, we're going to focus our light towards the bottom. Not really a hyper accurate portrayal of light interaction, but we're just trying for something that's got some good impact on it. We're going to do the top of those a metallic, so we're just going to do the base of these with a zenithal here. You see, we're doing a big, chunky zenithal here too. We're basically just not getting full coverage white is all. But we do want a healthy amount of it. And like we talked about, the surface of these are not great. So some of the things, some of the tactics like dry brushing that can be leveraged for these really smooth gradients and enhancements and whatever, well, that's just not going to work here. All it will enhance are the print lines. I'll throw it out there. This was something that was commissioned from another source for the 3D printing. You guys know we talk a lot about our friend Bigbear 3D. This is not his work. The terrain was. This is not. His work is considerably cleaner, but that's what he does. He is a 3D printer, so it should be cleaner. These might have come off Etsy, would be my guess. All right. Just going to come back across the tops of them, get a nice solid white line. Now what's funny is that little mishap with the explosion just adds extra little texture to it, which is cool here. I'm definitely cool with that. All right, we're going to let that dry down and refill this water. So I want you all to sit here and think about what I've done with the explosion. I'll be right back. Oh, this whole studio is driving me crazy. Cables underneath me. Oh, you son of a bitch. If you guys have seen our battle reports, you know, we've got some RoboCams we've been bringing into it. That's all the cables are underneath this chair, so I can't really move left or right very much. And I'm a wiggly sort of fella. So we're going to see how this plays out through the night. All right, we're going to break these into our halves now. Make it nice and easy to remember which colors go where. There's one half. Here is the other half. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get started into, let's get started with our Enkelian green. Little contrast paint. And we're going to do some shadows with this. Go ahead and get our shadows baked in, and then we're going to get our top colors go down. So you guys have heard us talk about a reverse zenithal. That's effectively what we're going to do here. We're going to observe the same ideals of the zenithal, but flip it on its head. Put some thinner in here, get that to make sure it behaves really nice through the airbrush. That looks good. So, focusing on a lot of the places that we've left black now, we're going to start baking that blue into it. Get it down in all these crevices at the bottom and the base. And then, you know, we left the black on the tops over here, so we're going to observe it in that same general fashion there. And you guys might not believe this, but we're likely going to come back in here and reinforce the shadows again with purple. But we at least want to get this blue tint to it. That looks pretty nice and subtle here. Yeah, no fancy handles, just figuring out the best angles to hold it from as we go. Get around these pipes. Follow the same general idea here. These being just the half versions of the other one we looked at. And now the other thing is too, it's been several months since we've done the terrain. I don't have the terrain in front of me. We don't have a written recipe. And so if I try to imitate the colors exactly as they are on the terrain, well, we're not going to get it right. We might get it close, but we're not going to get it right. And so if we embrace that and say, all right, we're going to use the same general logic to determine our colors, and we're going to use the same, kind of family of colors, then even if these don't have a perfect color match, their theme or their tone should match the rest of it very well anyway. Kind of a way to insulate ourselves for success here. Any of you guys follow Don Serratos? Another very, very talented painter. He's been doing a lot of stuff with, look, I don't remember if he's called it Slap Chop or not, but he's kind of endorsed it as Slap Chop. And Slap Chop has got a lot of people in his chat that are, kind of correcting him, and some going as far as to say that Slap Chop is not a real paint style, right? And that it's only there to make things easy. And so therefore, like, top-end painters shouldn't do it or something. I don't know. Those people don't really know much about underpainting. Existed long before Slap Chop did. Grisaille, long before Slap Chop. All the same general principles. Slap Chop is just that same general concept, but with a stupid name. Let's be honest. These should create some pretty interesting color dynamics on them, for sure. At 40K HOA. Now, what's the day we drag our Xenos to the street? I didn't read all the covenants. I just watched Romulus, Alien Romulus last night. I enjoyed it for what it was, right? Makes me think of Alien Covenant because of the joke we just made here. And can you imagine like an alien film where aliens come to Earth and the whole movie is about the xenomorphs trying to figure out HOAs? Alien Covenant. All right, I'll see myself out. Okay, let's just make sure we've got a good strong blue in all the places we want it while we got it in the cup. And we're going to move on to our next color. I do wish these were a better print, though. I do. And see, that blue at its darkest really looks like black. Anybody got any predictions for what faction might win Worlds this weekend? Or player for that matter? Anybody got a certain player they're watching? I know we've got our guy Kevin Grubbs. He's bound to have the most beautiful army in the house. We've got our man Brian Malpass. His world leaders are going to be gorgeous as well. But you know, shout out to your commission dude, Malpass. Um, definitely looking forward to seeing how they both perform. More importantly, I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, how they enjoy themselves. This was one that I was I really kind of was tempted to see about making a day trip down for it, just to kind of see, but yeah, it's just not going to work out. And Treachery, I saw you were working on World Eaters. I do have that World Eater commission that I have to get finished over the holidays here. So I might even be doing some work on them next week if we're able to get an art stream out. That's one of the things I'm kind of eyeing. But we might also try and, you know, because we're pushing the Kroot, if we've got the sequencing lines up right, we might just bring in and get some Kroot characters painted, get Cryface back on stream. Okay, looks pretty good for the most part. All right, there we go. Got our blues cooking. Work our next color scheme out. We gave the cup a rinse, but I'm not really worried about there potentially being a little blue in there. I'm actually okay with that entirely. I don't know if it's conveying on camera, but this should really make all your round stuff look more round. That's what we're going for here. I want you to tell from a distance the shape of the thing that we're painting. If we paint it all one color, it's a lot harder to, to kind of tell that story or convey that message. What's going on, Rain of Pain? Good to see you, brother. All right, so we can take this little bit of paint that is left over in the cup right back into there. We had a little airbrush thinner to it, but you know, parts per million and all of that, it's not going to hurt it too bad. It's not enough to break all the medium in there. And let's move into our next color. I'm going to come back to the blue. And we're going to add some mantis green to the top of it now. Should give kind of like a little bit, maybe like an army sort of vibe, maybe a little bit more vibrant than something you'd see there, but that's kind of the general idea we're going for. These are found on a battlefield, you know, so we're going to use colors that we can make some sense of otherwise. All right, this is where you'll really start to see some of the transitions really starting to take place here now. Let that dry down. And we could have used a darker green and then gone dark green on dark green, but you know, one color is not enough colors. We need more colors. And I think all of these pipes sticking off, we're probably going to do copper, and then the gears inside of these fans, we'll probably do silver, add a little additional variance to it. I don't know, I kind of dig it, man. What do you guys think? Yeah, Kevin, I'd love to see that game table, man. You got a post up on in Discord for that? So yeah, it's kind of got a neon vibe, but kind of also got kind of a military sort of feel to it. So, you know, something just a little bit different. Not for me, because I always paint like this. But from some of the other things that you might see elsewhere. All right, now we don't have to worry about this one too much again in terms of color change because we're now going to Iandon Yellow, and they share pigment value between the Mantis Warrior and the yellow, or one of them. They're both base. They're both base yellow with additional information. All right, same general deal here. This combination is great. Kind of browns out that red a little bit, that magenta or burgundy a little bit rather. So once we've got the yellow on all of these, what we'll likely do is then come back in with a diluted Leviathan purple and treat the deepest of shadows with that to give more of a kind of a three-step variance. Right now you've got your burgundy, you've got your yellow, adversely you've got your Ankelian green, and you've got your mantis green. They do have overlaps, which does kind of create a little bit a different color interaction where they kind of blend, but it's not a very stark difference in those two colors, right? So that gradient I would still count as a two-color scheme, even though there is interplay between those two colors. So adding in something like Leviathan is going to give us that extra value in our color composition. Yeah, this gives very like kind of dusk vibes, right? And I noticed the same with the terrain. Now the terrain did brown out a little bit more, and I do want these to be a little bit more vibrant. But that should kind of be the vibe that you get from it, right? Kind of like Malibu sunset. And again, you know, like I always preach, I mean, look how rare, fairly simple and quick this whole process is. You don't have to do a hard thing to make it look good. That's where people get hung up. They want to be master painters. And there's a time and place for that, for sure. But if you can't turn it off, I don't care how good you paint, if you can't turn off that internal drive to do more and more, well, then you're kind of limiting yourself on the type of painter that you can be as well. Our galaxy here is kind of shaping up pretty cool too. Okay, we're gonna let these guys dry down like we do. Kind of get the apples thing going here as well. Line them up side by side. All right, while these dry, let's stand up and stretch. back to it. Let's go ahead and clear the yellow out of here. We're going to drop that Leviathan in here, and I'll put these cups right here so you guys can see all the colors we've been playing with. And this is the only contrast paint I have ever bought a 6-pack of at one time. Kevin, I'll shoot you another. I'll shoot you another Discord link later through Facebook. Maybe I just need to get a new one out, and I'll go ahead and address that in the link as well. I'd love to have you in there. I do recall all those years ago in Kansas City, you had a beautiful Custodes army. So you being able to be in that Discord and share some of your work with everybody would be high value. Where is that Mantis Warrior? Don't you hide from me. We have enough here we can put back in there. All right, now what we're going to do here is we're going to hit these pipes with that purple. We're going to hit the internal vents with that purple as well. They're looking like something from Luther Corp right now with that purple laying in here. Very goblin, one might say. We're just going to be careful to try and make sure that we don't hit purple where we don't want purple. Kind of coming across, again, just richer shadows. It does make it a little bit darker, but it also changes the color tone. And once we get enough of these done, we'll do a zoom in on the camera to try and get a closer shot of it for everybody. And if you don't want to use all these colors, I mean, you can do the same thing with a black. Those of you guys that know me know I don't like to use black if I don't have to. Because black is not real. Black doesn't really occur in nature. Black is an effect, a byproduct of light or lack thereof, not really a color. And we are trying to do as much airbrush as possible as well. The primary reason, like we talked about, that surface texture of these prints is going to be the bane of any kind of brushwork. So we're just trying to get as much done through other methods as possible. So a lot of our metallics, we're doing this airbrush into it like this, but we're then going to follow it up with some sponges for some chipping and stuff. That'll kind of help hide some of those imperfections a bit as well. And of course, purple going over top of yellow or going over top of green does have a tendency to brown out, which a part of why we use that Sigvald is because it layering over the yellow Sigvald, what makes it not red is the inclusion of enough blue to move it burgundy, right? And the purple going over top of that, the Sigvald burgundy going over top of the yellow, that blue is going to strip some vibrancy from that Iandin. And when they lay over top of each other, because of their relationship on the color wheel, they're going to brown out a little bit. So that gives us kind of more earthy tones in what we're trying to accomplish. Harry Osborne. Hey, let me catch up on chat real quick. How about that? Does seem like 5 years ago, doesn't it? Painting a new shield host using some much more technical TMM things I learned from Juan Hidalgo. Looks awesome, but very time consuming. I'm a big fan of Juan Hidalgo. Nice layering process I'm doing for my Wii's is using loosely some of the NMM tutorials I've been absorbing, just trying to pay attention to light placement, reflection, shadows, etc. For sure. Yeah, NMM is all about the understanding of how light works and, of course, the ability to blend through paint. So kind of a two-step process. One is knowledge-based, one is technique-based. But yeah, keep on it. You know, practice will make perfect, for sure. It's worthwhile, but not for big armies. Like Custodes is probably ideal. Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, it's like a time and a place, right? If somebody shows up at an event, has a full NMM army entirely painted up, they deserve an accolade, man. That's a huge, huge undertaking. And I wouldn't want to discourage somebody if that was their goal. They wanted to show up with the most crazy thing to an event that anybody's ever seen. Hell yeah, go get it. But that's not what army painting is most of the time. Army painting is whatever we want it to be. That's what, we set our goals, we develop our styles, and, can kind of make it our own. But yeah, definitely don't set yourself up with the idea that you have to be able to accomplish a thing in order to be successful, because you don't. Now see, this purple looks a whole lot like brown when it goes over top of that green because of how much it gets desaturated. It looks a whole lot like black, I should say. My 2K has maybe 30 models. Even then, it's going to take me a good amount of time, but I'm hoping will be memorable to see him play. I've seen pictures, man. It's going to be a beautiful army. I look forward to it. I also look forward to the 8 battle boards you're going to make for it. Dean. Madman with the battle boards. TMMM though, yeah, true metallic metals. Hardest thing I had to wrap my head around was secondary reflections. It's crazy, and it's taken me 2 months to get it right. Oh, 100%. And I mean, one could argue that true metallic metals are a little bit easier than metallic metals because you're still able to utilize the luster and the shine of the mica or whatever the pigmentation is. You know, Tooth and Coats uses actual metal flakes in theirs. Um, Whereas NMM, you have to kind of tell the story of the luster using all flat paints. But both of them definitely take some practice to get right. I had a friend do not one but two NMM armies, first Custodies, then Grey Knights. Yeah, both NMM and TMM conceptualization has been quite the brain twister. Like, it makes sense, but making it make sense, my brain just constantly goes, how? I want to finish this. Next project I've been collecting is a quadrant pattern DA army, something else I've never done. Excited. Yeah, it's only appropriate to make 8 battle boards for Corn. You got it. All right, all right, all right. I'll maintain you. Jeez. Kind of sputtering and spitting a little bit there. Had a little clog in the nozzle. That's what happens with that. But again, the speckles on here aren't going to look bad at all because of the layering that we're going to do here in just a few moments with the chipping and weathering. That's embarrassing. Yep, going full barbarian mode tonight, guys. Speaking of barbarian mode, looking forward to some D&D in the near future, man. I haven't played in quite some time. I've really had an itch for it. What I kind of dig about this scheme we're messing with tonight is the ugly phase is actually very minimal on it, right? Like these don't look finished right now by any means, right? Still plenty of stuff to do to get it in that category. However, they don't have that period of time where it's like you just have to trust the process. Painting miniatures is pretty different like that, right? Because you got your base coat stage, you start to block in some colors, and it doesn't look great, but at least gives you your reference for where the colors are going to be. Then you start adding some details, and they look pretty good, but everything next to it starts looking worse because, well, you've got some parts looking good on it now, and that's that exchange. So it is kind of nice to be doing a project that at kind of every step is looking like I both expect it and want it to. That's a great mentality, man. And I like terrain better than model painting. I don't mind telling you. That's why I put all the extra effort into my battle boards when I do them, because basically it's a terrain piece, and like we've talked about, I like to have sculptural freedom, something you get from terrain or uh, battle boards or whatever. I mean, the entire thing, you have to determine what the entire thing is going to look like. Right? You don't have anything else that's kind of painting that picture for you. And so the amount of freedom in there can both be intimidating, but it can also be very rewarding to, like, get something done. Like many of you guys who have seen my booty hole, of course, I mean my display board, orc pirate themed display board. Um, there's a big skull carved from XPF foam on there. First time I'd ever taken and done any kind of relief sculpture with foam in that way. And well, I mean, it made the whole battle board for me very, very special, right? Because I got to finish something I was really proud of, and kind of like learn a new skill set in a way. Not only have I not done relief sculpting with foam, I really haven't done sculpting, period, other than maybe like some kit bash, if you want to kind of group those together. There's just not as much call for it on a model as you get for a table of terrain or for a battle board. And so cool thing is, as we kind of move a little bit further away from just all competitive all the time and start adding on more, members content, fun games, Highlander games, doubles matches, the things that we're kind of the most excited for. Well, that also means I get to start making terrain, fancy boards specifically for our use, and we're going to start it off, as you guessed it, with an orc junk town. And it's going to be so cute. Always take a moment for a little OCD. Never hurt anybody. Okay, stand up, stretch it out. I think we are at the metallics phase. Kevin still has his first edition books. I played first edition one time. I played second edition one time. And then in the, I don't know, mid 90s, maybe it was. Late 90s is when I dug in on third edition. And that was the edition that made me a D&D player, right? Really, I started collecting all the books. I think I still have the bulk of the hardbacks from third edition, between 3 and 3.5. And it's something I always remember fondly, but I don't know if I could ever go back and play it again. And there's a couple of guys that actually get together every Wednesday up here at Counterspell and have a first edition campaign that they've been running for quite some time. Do you ever go back and play any first edition, Kevin? Yeah, just can't go back. I don't think I'd ever play third edition either. Especially first edition. You talk about going back in time. First edition was a really cool idea that it took 20 years to get right, I think. THACO and all of that, you can keep it. The third edition days of needing 8 books to build a character sheet, you can keep it. As much as I love it, I'll never get rid of the books because the art is incredible in it for sure. And every so often I do like to crack them open and just dig through the old art. Um, but D&D, the state of D&D today is pretty damn good, really. You know, the idea of um, an app that you can not only build your character sheet on, but reference obscure rules on, track your hit points, do all of that. You know, I'll take a slimmed down system over a convoluted rule set all the time because, you know, D&D is about storytelling. It's not about math adventures. You know what I mean? So like, I don't want to I don't want to sit around and have to do a whole bunch of like referencing, citing my references in terms of all the where all the rules come from or like understanding convoluted interactions. I don't need all that. I want a good story, you know, and the things that stand in the way of telling a story, I don't care about them. So drop some copper in here on these fans, and then we're going to do silver on the pipes. Finally getting around to a little brushwork, but it'll be short-lived. I actually think we're only going to use the brush for these. I think we're going to do all of the metallics for the pipes. I think we're going to do with a sponge. Get us a nice little textural vibe on here too. And we will be doing one more pass with Leviathan once we've got our metallics on here to reinforce those shadows and kind of tie everything together. Until we do that, you know, like we've talked about in the past, that's our reinforcing those shadows is doing atmospherics work, right? So adding that purple tells us that that environment is creating that spectrum of light. So that being the case, it needs to have a direct impact on all the elements that have light exposed to it. Otherwise, it just doesn't really tell the same story. Dude, how incredible is that? You know, not only is it like a game we get to enjoy and make friends now, but you know, between D&D, you know, tabletop gaming in general, whether it's war games or otherwise, you know, there's a bond there. I like to assimilate, like, you know, it's similar to sports, right? If you're on a team with somebody, you know, and you guys win the big game, right? You're celebrating the accomplishment as a group rather than, hey, that dude is awesome, right? And a lot of the 40K experience for me in the past has been, you know, in the painting side of things, the competitive painting side of things. And like, hey, if I win a trophy, it's because I won a trophy. And that is never as rewarding as, well, I'll use our favorite my favorite trophy that we've achieved as a club. That's of course, the Exemplars of the Community trophy. That was a trophy that we couldn't have done on our own. Not a single person in the club could have earned that award. It took the village, right? So it's the thing I'm the most proud of because of that, because we coordinated a bunch of people to do a thing, and that thing got a little bit of recognition. And that's where I equate it to sports, right? D&D, you guys finally face off with the big bad and beat him. Probably couldn't have done that alone. And back in our day, Kevin, I'm sure you can attest to this as well. Well, you just didn't bring up gaming stuff around girls. Wasn't the thing to do. You know, you might even keep it a complete secret until that a relationship is in full swing. And nowadays, man, geek is chic. You know, these college kids nowadays that are getting into 40K or D&D or, you know, I don't know if Magic the Gathering is seeing the same kind of response. But it's kind of the cool thing to do. What a world we live in. That's cool too, introducing the family to it. I got two nephews, both of them young men now. And this just wasn't something that caught their attention. I was like, dude, I'm going to be the coolest uncle. Well, you know, not if I'm not doing the things I think are cool. Definitely pretty happy with how much we're getting done tonight, though. My guy Paul has been waiting very patiently on this stuff. So it's good to be getting it done and getting it sent out. Much like Cody, I'm sure, will be very happy when I finally can get down to finishing those world leaders for him. Go ahead and grab these skulls that we saw on here too. Really see how bad the print is here. Oof. I completely agree with you, Kevin. I completely agree with you. You know, I'd love to see the hobby opened up to more people anyway. It'd be like, many people don't understand or realize just how inclusive the hobby already is. 40K has a great community that goes along with it, for sure. Okay. Okay, I think that we have to actually fill this whole space with that copper because of how shallow the print is in certain places. Got about an hour left on stream tonight. Still plenty of stuff to do, but I actually think we're moving along pretty nicely. So let's get a nice dark metallic. Want something that I can put a lighter metallic highlight on. So we're going to go Surcoats Silver. That's, of course, 2 thin coats. Get some into my workspace here. Go ahead and grab me my little sponge tool. Of course, just an alligator clip on a brush handle. Get that baked in there pretty good. And we're just going to stipple these pipes. We're going to leave some purple down in the recesses, and that's okay. Again, the textural thing is what we're going for here. We're going to come back with the purple to add our shadows back into the piece for those individual things. Let's go ahead and silver out this little cap on top too. Yeah, this is not quite lead belcher, would be a great way to describe it. Not quite as dark as lead belcher, but definitely a little darker than just your out of the box silver. And you should check them out. If you're going to be at LVO, which unfortunately I'm not going to make it LVO, guys. I don't know if I've shared that online or not. Budget in terms of time and money, unfortunately, don't allow for it this year. For anybody who will be at LVO, if you have not tried 2 Thin Coats paint, they will be there in the vendor hall with a paint and take that you can just go test some of them out, see how you feel about them. A lot of great vendors going to be over there. You know, Artist Opus, Monument Hobbies, 2 Thin Coats. Our friend Baron Dice will be out there as well. He's got a hell of a display he puts up. And just so you know, Kevin, when I first read that, I read that as you don't own his pants. But that's just the way my brain works. I don't know if I told you guys this or not, but these prints are terrible. If I knew who they came from, I would have to like not say their name, just so I didn't give them a bad rap with how much trash I'm talking on the print quality. It's nice to see Denver blowing up, though. That's where you got Roddy out there, don't you? Also, guess you're not terribly far from where Kicker ended up either. 6-8 hours, something like that, I assume. We're real excited for that guy's future, man. right, so yeah, here we go. We're just getting to see kind of how these turned out. They look like they could be a part of a battlefield somewhere. So what does everybody like better? The green or the yellow in terms of the color compositions? Well, there you have it, guys. That is our project tonight, all finished up. I'm gonna go ahead and drop some cleaner in here so I don't hate me tomorrow. But what do you think? This is just under 3 hours of effort to get our scatter terrain done tonight. I know that I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. Definitely hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hopefully there was something that we've gone over tonight that will help you on your painting goals as well. As always, I'm reachable on Discord. If you have any questions, hit me up, let me know. Definitely expect that we're gonna do at least 2 of these a month for members. Thank you, Gob Skwad, so very much for your support. If getting in here and hanging out with you guys and doing some painting is enough to show appreciation, then I'm here for it. Definitely check out all of the other exciting content that we've got planned coming up as well. Again, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Until next time, keep your pants on.